dictionary definition of music is the art of arranging sounds in time through the elements of melody, harmony, rhythm, and timbre. Low Pass Filter is a show about the nature of this thing we call music, how it functions in people's lives, how it's contextualized by society, and why we find certain music meaningful. This is Low Pass Filter. Hello, and welcome to Low Pass Filter. This is a show about music and what it means in our lives. My name is Mateo Noche, and I'm here with Jack Griffith from Novo Combo. Novo Combo was formed in the winter of 1979 with founding members Stephen Dees, Jack Griffith, Pete Hewlett, and drummer Michael Shreive, a Hall of Famer, a rock and roll Hall of Famer, who I recall looking at. I just rewatched his turn on at Woodstock on the Soul Sacrifice one, where he looked incredibly blazed out, but just played absolutely brilliantly. And so he's sort of
they were definitely hyped.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a story. I don't know if this is the Carlos story, but maybe never mind. John Sebastian, he got dropped acid and thought he had hours before he had to be on stage, and it's like, oh, you're on stage now. So yeah. So your self-titled debut record contained a hit called Up Periscope, and another one called Tattoo, and that was back in 1980.
80, yeah.
Okay, and then you had a follow-up record called The Animation Generation. Is that correct? In 81. Right.
Yeah.
Right on. And you're from West Virginia.
Yeah, Charleston.
That's what it says here. And you have performed with Mick Jagger, Carlos Santana, the aforementioned Carlos Santana, Gary Moore, and you're writing songs for various folks. And you're a brave owner of a recording studio, apparently. In any era, that is a sign of courage.
Yeah, we just opened up a nice room. I'm not there presently, but normally I do these there. But today I got real busy doing something else and wasn't able to get up there.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to ask you about the facility here a little later, but first of all, I wanted to say it seems unusual and maybe highly improbable that all four original members of a band would get back together 42 years later and record a follow-up record. So I'm just wondering what the motivating factor was for that, and what took you so long?
A good question. Well, I think what it was, we had some stuff in the can from back in the days where we were cutting demos, right? So we'd go right in and cut a live demo, live to 2-track. And so we went back, started reviewing, and said, man, these sounds better than the tunes that we put on the record, I think we captured that live thing to some degree. Right. So anyway, Stephen got the idea, hey, why don't we get back together and, put this music out there? It's really good. People should hear it. And so we had a few songs, and he said, well, let's write some new stuff, And so we wrote a few songs, and then we pulled some songs out of the can, and then we used a couple of live pieces that we had. And then we put it together and put it out there.
Nice.
That's about it. I mean, there's more to the story, of course. Stephen had just lost a close friend, Eddie Zine, who was the drummer for Hall & Oates in the early days, the Sarah Smile days. And that's when he started going through all his catalog of music, looking everything up, looking for music with Eddie, of course. And then he ran across all this Novo Combo stuff that he had. And so he started reviewing it, and then he contacted us and said, let's do something. That's pretty much how it happened.
Yeah. So this release is entitled 45 West 55th, and uh, that kind of figures into the band's history in a way.
Yeah.
And it's also, if I'm not mistaken, it's the address of Birdland. Is that correct? Is that the
No, no, no. It
okay?
may
All
be
right.
today. I don't know. It was Michael's address. Michael's apartment was on 45 West 55th.
Okay.
Yeah. And back in the day when we all got together, we all met in the city and stayed at Michael's place.
All right.
Yeah.
And so
So
it's an
the
homage to
origin.
that.
Exactly. Yeah. Back to the roots, you know.
Right
So
on.
yeah.
Yeah. So I guess the leadoff single from this record is something called "Everything It Takes to Be Happy," which sounds like a song whose moment has arrived. Um,
Right.
given the current state of affairs here and in the world, can you tell me a little bit about the impetus for this song and
Sure. Well, Pete wrote that song, and Pete actually had that song in the beginning days. He brought that to the band, and that's one of those live to two track recordings we did. And Michael was really big on that. He was really big on instilling in us, let's just get it on stage the same way it's going to be on the tracks. You know, let's be a live band. So what you see is what you get. What you hear is exactly what you're going to get it. You know, so. Uh, we just go in these evening sessions and cut everything live, and it's it sounded great. Sounded better than some of the earlier production stuff that we did overdubs on and all that stuff.
all right, fantastic.
Yeah.
So is Novo Combo an East Coast band? And can you describe how you guys fit into that whole East Coast scene, the music scene of the early
Yeah,
80s?
well, we were a New York City band.
Okay.
We developed in New York and played New York City, and of course we did some East Coast touring and everything, the Northern East and all.
Hmm.
But we started in New York City. First year together, we played venues in the city. You know, a lot of places in New York we played.
So I imagine like CBGBs and
No, no, we didn't do CBs, but we did
okay.
a lot. We did a lot of the club scene, and then we kind of moved up pretty quick. We were doing theaters, that
All
sort of
right.
thing. Yeah, oh, we did some great gigs. We were one of the bands that played with the Clash at Bonds back
Wow.
in the early days, and we played the Ritz. We played the Ritz 100 times. Uh,
Okay.
we played there with U2,
Wow.
numerous bands. Yeah, numerous bands of the era. Yeah.
Nice. So, I'm just listening in back to the new stuff and this it feels very much like a guitar band to me. It really feels like there's like nary a keyboard in sight in on any of the
Yeah.
recordings that I heard, and the guitars are great, by the way, and uh,
Thank you. Thank you.
interesting and layered, and a lot of interesting stuff goes on there. But I guess you know, do you think of it as that sort of a band where this is
Most definitely, yes. Pete and I played guitar in the band. That was it. I think
yeah,
on a couple of tracks we may have put some, keyboard pads,
right,
and but nothing too serious, But
right.
yeah, we're a
You
guitar
did
band.
you didn't do the whole new wave thing where you do Bill Haley and the Comets with a DX7,
Right.
so
Yeah.
you're to be commended for that. Uh, uh, and I just happened upon your Solid Gold appearance,
Yeah.
which, I completely forgotten about the Solid Gold dancers, you know,
Yeah,
going
they
on in
were a
the
lot of
background.
fun.
So that was quite must have been a surreal experience.
It was strange, yeah. They really worked hard though. I mean, all they did was practice and rehearse their moves and everything the whole time we were there. But yeah, it was fun to watch them move. It was great.
Fantastic. So, you are a commercial studio owner. Can you tell me a little bit about what your facility's like and what kind of clientele you see
Yeah, we just put a computer-based Pro Tools room together,
mhm.
a nice space, Midtown Charleston, and we're set up a lot of nice gear and everything's great room, great acoustics. We're set up and ready to go. Of course, right now we just put it together, so we haven't opened it for business yet.
Oh,
We're
okay.
just kind of, yeah, we're just kind of using it for self-production and uh, rehearsals. Yeah, at this
All
point.
right. Cool, cool.
Yeah.
And so are you guys planning on touring behind this record? Are you guys going to play some shows or?
No, I don't think so.
All right.
No. Michael's had some health issues. He had to have back surgery and stuff like that, and he's just not feeling up to it right now. His energies haven't totally come back yet. So, I mean, I like to say never, but I think that it may not be happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good, good. All right. Well, this show, Low Pass Filter, is generally a show that I do with a friend of mine who's a record store owner, and we sit around
Mhm.
and talk about music and all that sort of thing. And the topic for our upcoming podcast that we're going to record on Monday is rock and roll dead? So I'm taking an informal poll. Is rock and roll dead, Jack?
I really don't know. Um, Not in my heart. But I think that it's been confused a lot lately, that's for sure. Uh, and there's a lot of different music out there today. Kids are digging a lot of different things, and world music, all this music coming into play. Uh,
Yeah.
no, I really think that in the melting pot, there's something down there bubbling, and it's going to reveal itself one day, and it's just going to be great, and everybody's going to love it again. You know, Wishful thinking, maybe.
Yeah. Well, so yeah. Well, I mean, so much of, for you and I, old dudes of our age, is, the shared experience, I think that we got out of rock and roll radio and,
Right, right.
everybody,
Different times.
yeah, yeah. And everything's sort of splintered now. And, you've got your Spotify and all that or other sort of thing that puts people in different places instead of having that shared experience. So
I
I think,
think it'll evolve. I'm really inspired by youth today. These young kids are just burning it.
yeah,
And they have more access to a lot of things than we did coming up. And they're brilliant. The new kids are brilliant. And I just think something will come of it. Really, I do.
yeah. A friend of mine, a former collaborator in bands that I've been in, he says it's the women that are really bringing it now. The one that's really the girls that are taking over the scene and doing a good job with rock and roll.
That's been for some time now, actually. Yeah. The crooners sort of disappeared for a while. Those great male singers.
Right.
Of course, a lot of R&B singers are surviving it, but I'm like the great rock crooners, the um, John Andersons and I can't think of
Sure,
the
sure. It's like
other.
Steve Perry. I mean, those kinds of
Yeah, they
rock
haven't
and
they haven't
roll
been marketing.
balladeers. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, totally.
So the Paul Rogers and Lou Grahams of yesterday. It's just great
Yeah,
vocalists. But
yeah.
I think the industry works more with the girls today than the guys.
Well, yeah.
Just
I mean,
marketing.
for so long, I think they were kept out of it, or kept at arm's length, and there were a few people that were breaking through, like Joan Jett, and you know, there's just a very few, Fleetwood Mac and those kinds of people.
Yeah.
But now I think a lot of those, kind of male chauvinistic barriers have come down, and there's room for them to take over. So, and
Well, I just think it'll all evolve eventually, and there'll be room for everybody and everything. You know.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, how can people get a hold of this release?
Uh,
Where,
NovoCombo.com,
all right.
Wild Roots Records. It's on all the streaming service, iTunes,
Hmm.
Spotify. It's out there. It's everywhere.
Okay.
Just go look
And
it up.
you guys do socials? Do
Oh,
you do
oh
the,
yeah, yeah. We're all over Facebook and Instagram.
all
Our
right. So,
website.
so it'd be at Novo Combo or hashtag Novo Combo, if
Yeah,
people can
check us
find
on
it.
Novo Combo on Facebook. That's a good place too.
Right
Yeah.
on. Okay. So is there anything you'd like to add and let our audience know about why they should run out and get a copy of this record?
Well, I'm playing with some really great musicians. As you well know, Michael Shreive is one of the greatest drummers in the world of all time, And
Uh-huh.
matter of fact, I insisted that he put a drum solo on the record. He
Uh-huh.
was reluctant. He didn't want to, and the guys they didn't really mind, but I was like, you're Michael Shreive, man. Let's put it on there. And so I basically had to talk him into it because they did one of my songs called Axis. And when we played live, we used that song as the lead into his drum solo. So since they wanted to put that live version on the record, and I thought, well, then put the drum solo in there with it, and that'd be great. So just great musicians, great singers, great songwriters, and just some
Great guitar
brilliant
player,
cats.
right?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good. I've played all my life. I've learned a thing or two over the years. But boy, what an honor to play with the guys I'm playing with. It's
Fantastic.
it's worth the price of admission. I promise.
Right on. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Jack Griffin, thank you so much. Griffith, thanks
Hey,
you so much for being here on Low Pass Filter. It's been a
my
pleasure
pleasure. Thank you
and an
again.
honor.
Appreciate it.
And I'd like to thank our audience and everyone for tuning in today to Low Pass Filter. And we'll see you again next time.